Only Skin Deep models the beautiful side of horror. Directed by William Malone, written by Dick Beebe, and shot by Levi Isaacs. Based on a story from Tales from the Crypt number 38, drawn by Reed Crandall. Get your favorite mask on. No real faces allowed during this tale. Carl, dressed as a pirate, crashes Bob's Halloween party. Bob did not invite Carl because Linda, his ex-girlfriend, is there. Though upset by this, Carl promises he will leave after one drink. After all, nobody will even recognize him with his mask on. Of course, Linda spots him.
You can't force people to love you, no matter how many times you hit them.
Well, Carl seems like a nice guy to be around. Bob intervenes before a scene breaks out. 5 years ago, Herbert met Suzanne at Mardi Gras and fell in love. Every year since, he's traveled to New Orleans to see her again. This will be the last time he puts himself through his love sickness. This year, he will ask her to marry him. Despite their masks, Herbert and Suzanne spot each other in the crowd. Suzanne has been wearing the same rubber mask for Mardi Gras all 5 years that Herb has known her. He doesn't know what she really looks like. He wants to take her somewhere private, but she takes him onto the dance floor. Unable to contain his emotions, Herb, in the middle of the crowd, asks Suzanne to marry him. She's hesitant, since he has never seen her face, but he claims it doesn't matter. In the kitchen, Carl takes his anger out on an innocent pumpkin.
That can't be very satisfying, demolishing a dormant vegetable. Or are pumpkins fruit?
Excuse me. I thought I was alone.
Obviously. Got quite a temper, Carl.
Carl talks with a girl dressed as a body bag.
Certain wrongs deserve certain justifiable actions.
I don't disagree.
Thanks. Listen, not to be rude or anything, but what are you? No, I mean the costume.
I'm a body bag. I thought the invitation said come as you are.
Well, how are you a body bag?
A synthetic shell with a corpse inside.
Tired of being hit on at the party, she's on her way out. Carl joins her. The nameless woman lets him call her Molly. Molly's place is run down. She lets Carl fetch a drink as she undresses. Taking the hint, Carl makes a deal with Molly. They know each other's names, and that's all. They won't even take off their masks. Things get too hot for YouTube, after which Carl wakes up alone, except for a bizarre figure lurking around. All a dream, maybe. In the woods, away from all the noise, Sue wants Herb to propose to her again. He does. Of course she says yes. Wanting to kiss her, he reaches to remove her mask. She stops him, promising once they're married, they can unmask. No more waiting, they will get married tonight. Renting a car, the couple drives until they find a justice of the peace. Herbert and Suzanne are made husband and wife in the middle of the night, both wearing masks. Carl looks for Molly, but she finds him.
Were you calling me?
Is there somebody else here?
Is there what?
Nothing. What the hell are you doing?
I'm making a stand.
She gives him a drink, which he downs. Molly grows cold to Carl's advances, getting very upset when he tries taking his mask off. They had a deal. Carl wants to get to know Molly, but she won't tell him a thing. Molly falls asleep, briefly angering Carl. As an apology, he lays out his entire backstory and his face.
You will not be here when I wake up. You will be gone, as in out of here, as in forever.
The newlyweds settle in their hotel room. Herb wants to unmask, but Sue turns off the lights. With only her moonlit silhouette visible, Sue undresses for Herb. Later, still in the dark, Herb says to Sue that he still has not seen her face. She knows. As Sue drifts off to sleep, Herb remembers how they first met. Carl raids Molly's medicine cabinet. Her real name is scratched off of every bottle. Moving on to her purse, she carries no form of ID. Barely anything is kept in the kitchen, and all her mail is addressed to resident, homeowner, occupant. Carl feels woozy. His vision distorts. 5 years ago, Sue wore the same mask as tonight. Herb instantly fell in love with her, and they vowed to meet each other for Mardi Gras every year. And every year, she refused to take off her mask, adamant that fantasy can be better than reality. Herb has no idea what his wife looks like. He turns the light on to the shocking sight of Sue still wearing her mask. Carl stumbles to Molly's workroom. Wiping the grime off the cabinet, he opens it and faces a less than encouraging sight. You think Carl's had a temper before? He shakes Molly awake. While struggling on the ground, he saws her hand.
You got all those goddamn masks, bitch. Let's see what's under yours.
No!
Jesus.
It was never a mask, Carl.
Whatever Molly spiked Carl's drink with still hasn't knocked him out. He is awake when she takes his face. Ouch. Later, a bandaged Molly adds Carl's face to her collection, placing him front and center. Using a spot of her latest victim's blood as lipstick, Molly reflects upon her own face in the saw. Herb takes off Sue's mask. Shockingly, her face is exactly the same as the mask she wears. She warned him to never remove her mask. Herb wakes up, relieved it was a dream, but also ashamed. He loves his wife, no matter what she looks like. He turns the light on once again to Sue still wearing her mask. He tries to remove it, waking her up. Sue begs Herb to stop. She reminds him it doesn't matter what she looks like, but it does matter. He has to see her real face. He pulls at the mask, finally tearing it from her face. In its place is a bloody, fleshy pulp. With garbled words, Sue confesses to her husband that she was never wearing a mask. Only Skin Deep is a story that confronts us about how beauty standards are viewed. Herbert believes that love will conquer all, but once he has to get to know Suzanne beyond her Mardi Gras mystique, his impulses take over. Too bad looks meant more to him than he thought. Seriously, the guy tore off an innocent woman's face. Carl from the TV series is as angry and shallow as a character can get. In poetic Crypt fashion, this objectifier of women becomes a literal trophy boyfriend himself. Sherry Rose makes her second appearance in the show as Molly, and will appear again in the Demon Knight movie. With her face replaced with a body bag's, she gives a much more reserved performance. While her motivation isn't in your face, Molly, with her lifelong deformity, also has an obsession with looks, which causes her to lash out violently. She may have been born with the face of a monster, but what twisted her into the killer she is? This tale may masquerade as explicit horror, but its themes dig under the skin.
No!